What is up, everyone, and welcome to another Bitcoin market update. In these videos, you will learn how to use technical analysis to forecast price movements in your favorite cryptocurrencies. All right, so let's dive into it here with Bitcoin on the monthly time frame. So we have set our higher low here in the month of June after this drawdown that we experienced starting in April. We are now on our way back up. Now, because of the reason why we when we were back here in April, we said it's likely if we do come down that we will form a higher low somewhere above the previous low back here from September at about $9,800. And the reason for that is because of the magnitude of this move from this low to this high. So from this low to this high, we rose all the way from 9,800 to about 65K. So for us to come down and then in one fell swoop go below the previous low at $9,800 is very unlikely because of how far we'd have to drop in price. So that is why our higher low was set, because buyers stepped in well before we ended up getting down to that $9,800 level, which was very likely to happen. Now the question is, are we going to set a lower high or are we going to go up for a higher high? And I would say using the same sort of mental framework that we used to determine that this higher low is going to be set, we can do the same thing with a high being set on the monthly time frame here, because of this drawdown being 55%, for us to go up and break to a new higher high on the first go, we would need to rise about 125%. And so it's unlikely that that'll happen in one push. It can happen, as we saw right here. It is possible, but usually after you set a high on a bull run like this and you come down, you're starting to form a kind of change in trend here. And so given the magnitude of this move down, it's still very likely that we're going to set a lower high somewhere below the previous high of 65K. So then it just becomes a matter of where is that lower high. So if we're scouting for the lower high, the first thing we can look at is the pivots. So the pivot is right around 46.3. We're operating above that right now at about 46.6, but it's going to depend on where this monthly candle closes in 20 days, where this, or if this R2 resistance level holds up. If we do not stop there, what we're going to look at, or what I'm going to look at, is the weekly time frame. Start to look at things like the bottoms of these candles right here, which is up at about 49K. And then if we go down to the 3-day time frame, we can see this gray resistance zone right here that we have not touched yet, but we're very close. We're about 400 points away from this level, which is at about 47K. And that level goes all the way up to about 52K. So in my opinion, it's very likely that this gray zone is going to be the zone that we end up setting that monthly lower high. That's just my personal opinion, but I think that is it's a likely area that we could set that lower high. So that's going to be an area that I'm looking for in the next few weeks. So if we go to the daily time frame, this is a couple things I want to point out here. I really just want to talk about two key support and resistance levels. One of which, first we'll talk about the resistance level. So the resistance level is this red box right here, this red rectangle. So this red rectangle is right around this white candlestick right here from May 14th. So this candle is the last up candle before this down move. This is the last area where people were buying Bitcoin before this drawdown in price. And we continued that bear trend down. So we have a high, low, lower high, and then lower low. Now, so when you see that 4-step trend, high, low, lower high, lower low, that's a bear trend. So the confirmed momentum is now to the downside. And that's what we see right here. We see the drawdown continue to the downside. And so this candlestick right here is this is indeed the resistance level that we'll be watching for price to have a rejection off of. And the reason for that is because of the fact that people were buying their Bitcoin at this level and then the trend changed. So now if the price returns to this level, it gives people the opportunity that were buying here to then sell at the same price so they can get into a short position. So that's going to be the area that I'm keeping an eye on for resistance, as that lies inside of that gray 3-day zone that hasn't been tested as resistance yet. And then we have this fresh daily support level that we just created yesterday. So we talked about this in yesterday's video. We said if this candle closes above this key high right here from August 8th, when we came up right here and then came down, this key high, if we close above that on yesterday's candle, this is what I was saying in yesterday's video, then this candle right here, this black candle, will end up becoming a support zone for price. And now you can see that we have not come down and test this level yet. Although the wick of this candle touched it, it's not, in my opinion, considered a test until we set a high and then we come into this level. And so to set a high, would have to break the low of this candle from yesterday, August 10th, and we haven't done that yet. So it's looking in 3.5 hours that our candle close is going to be relatively bullish here, if not very bullish, and looking for continuation into that red zone. If we do end up getting that, the further away that we push from this blue zone, the more likely it is that this zone will hold as support. Because we closed so close to this level, if we were to test this level on today's daily candle, we're so close to the level that it doesn't have a very good chance of holding. Versus if we pushed all the way up to, let's say the bottom of the red level and then came back down into the level, we could retrace about 7% and then come into that level, providing, a nice decent buffer before we try and potentially bounce off of that level. So that's good news that bulls are still continuing to push us higher today and did not, after seeing this black candle here, come down and test this level immediately thereafter. So if we go to the lower time frames like the 8-hour, we can see that there's a couple things here. One, we have the, I'm just going to take this off. One, we have the purple zone right here that we have not tested. So this is a fresh support zone from our bull trend right here. Low, high, higher low, and then higher high with 2 candle closes above this key high. This last down candle right here before this up move is the area that we're looking for. We have not tested that zone yet. We got close to it right here, but did not actually get there. And now we're running into this yellow resistance level, which is from the 12-hour time frame actually. And this was from back here when we had our bear trend of a high, low, lower high, lower low. So we've already tested this level once right here. So we came into it, we rejected, and now we're coming into it a second time. So we'll see if this level holds for a second test. I think that it will, just because it's such a large level. It goes all the way up to about 50K, and that red daily resistance level falls inside of this as well. So that's going to be an area that should be pretty significant sell pressure if we get to that level, in conjunction with the fact that there's also the gray resistance level as well that we have not touched, that starts right about here. So we'll see how price reacts to that level as well. If we look at this from an Ichimoku cloud perspective, you can see that the cloud is in the most bullish position that it could be in on the 12-hour time frame. We have the Tenkin, the blue line, above the Kijun, the red line here. We have the cloud flipped to be green, and then we have price operating above all of that. So this is good for trend continuation higher over the next few weeks. And so this is a good indicator if you are a bull. In addition to that, we also have the Super Guppy EMA indicator here. So this indicator is just a combination of a bunch of different EMAs for different time frames. So the blue EMAs here are the faster EMAs. These are the shorter EMAs. So the time frame is shorter, and that's why they're able to move faster, because they're taking an average of a shorter period, like 5 or 10, versus the longer EMAs, which are these green ones in this indicator here. And the green ones are longer time frames, like 20, 30, 60, whatever they are. Let's look at these settings and see what they are. So you can see the fast EMAs start at 3 and they go to 23. And then the slow EMAs start at 25 and they go to 70. So the reason why I like this indicator is because of the way that it reads trends. So you can see that here it read the trend extremely nicely, and this provided several good entry points all the way down. I mean, pretty much every single test of this was a good entry point. I mean, you could go short here, profit, short here, profit, short here, profit, short here again. When you hit the red EMAs, you enter, profit, 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 profit. Right here, now you have your first time where you're going to lose the trade, because these are starting to tighten up. So you see how initially the EMAs are very expanded. Right here, there's white space in between them. But as we test them, as we continue to grind on them like this right here, they become tighter and tighter. They're weakening because they're getting closer and closer to price. And then you can see once they're all really close and there's not much white space, boom, we break right through them. And now we've expanded them, and now you can see on the green side, on the bull side, these are starting to expand and get some white space in between them as well. So if we come back and retest these, this will be a buy zone for this indicator. So the EMAs turn red or green or dark blue or light blue based on where they are in relation to each other. So for instance, here, the reason they flip to be from light blue and green to dark blue and red, and the dark blue are the faster EMAs, and these are the slower, or what you consider to be the investor EMAs, meaning that these are where longer term investors are looking to enter positions. The way that you can tell when these change color is when the faster EMAs flip below the longer term EMAs. That's when you get these to be dark blue and these to be dark red. And then on the other side of things, when the faster EMAs flip to be above the longer term EMAs, the slow EMAs, then you get this scenario here where you get the light blue for the faster EMAs and the green for the longer term EMAs. So this indicator is one that I really like because it's a bit more advanced than the just simple moving averages. If you're just looking at a SMA or a couple SMAs, this is several EMA. This is like 20 some EMAs, and there's also the color coordinated aspect to tell you how things look in relation to the trend. And so I really like this indicator when I'm looking to ride a trend. You can see this was an area for potential buying. And then once we get that, we see the expansion here for the profitable trade. So we'll see if we get another return to this green zone. Right now, the green zone starts at right around 42.5. So that's the area that is a potential area for a buy for this indicator. All right, that's all I got for this video, guys. If you like this video, give it a like down below and subscribe for future educational content around cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. And if you haven't already, check out our beginner technical analysis course that we released on Leutheria.com. This is where you can learn all of the foundational elements you need to get started generating consistent profits, trading crypto assets like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and several others. You'll learn things like volume analysis, candlestick analysis, trend analysis, technical indicators, and a ton of other stuff as well. You can get 20% off that course using the link in the description below. And until tomorrow, onward and upward.